What's going on, my people? Welcome back for another video. As you can see, just made it to Master. It says Firewall Maliss, but that's not the whole story. But you can see it was a fairly decent run. There was one period of deep darkness, of frigging sorrow and hatred. Can you imagine 10:30 at night after work, getting absolutely smashed 3 times in a row? But it was a fairly straightforward ride with Maliss. Absolutely friggin' standard list, but yes, 100%. I told you people, this is one of my favorite boss monsters of all time. I friggin' love this boss monster. We go back Math Mech days, man. This has gotten me through to Master Rank, to friggin' we got second stage of World Championship qualifiers or something back in the day with Code Talker, Math Mech back in the day. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. Top 3, possibly number 1 boss monster of all time. I had to go with it, and not just because of like personal favorites. Also, I hear all the verses for this versus Allied Code Talker, and generally what I've been seeing is Allied Code Talker frees up space in the extra deck, which is absolutely true. You don't understand how much I would love to run All Mirage and whatnot. And also just having an Omni negate with Allied Code Talker, along with a lot of people thinking Dark Fluid is just win more. But my thinking is, this is what I'm thinking. Allied Code Talker, like I go first, I set up my board, cool. Allied Code Talker gives me 1 negate on my opponent's turn. Dark Fluid gives me a monster, a spell and trap negate, and it gives me Pack Bit. That's 2 interruptions, you know? And weighing it up, I kind of said, you know what? I'm going with Dark Fluid. So that's why I went with it. But yeah, I do wish I could fit in All Mirage. I do wish I could fit in Transcode Talk or whatnot. And also, one negative of Dark Fluid is Triple Tactics Talent. Your opponent's stealing it, but you've generally got enough to deal with that. But I just personally prefer Dark Fluid. Most people would probably not go with Dark Fluid and just have a better, more diverse extra deck, allowing them to play through more and whatnot. But that's them. This is me. Yeah, what can I say? I love Cybers, like Code Talker, Math Mech, and now Maliss. So I'm here with this. Yeah, love this deck. Hate facing it, but love this deck. Wish people would not play it and just let me play it, because it's horrible to play against. I'll tell you that. Going second with but yeah, the only real decks you really lose to is going second against Ryzeal. But yeah, check out the replays. Of course, I've got another Sky Striker Tenpai video coming, and that one will be just exclusively Master Rank gameplay with Sky Striker Tenpai, because I feel like it's in a meta right now where it can absolutely cook. That's another thing. Ultimate Slayer, I feel, does a lot more against Allied Code Talker than it does with Terahertz. So I feel like Sky Striker Tenpai will be very nice to play right now. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this. Well, there's a few more weeks of the season. I think over 2. I'm gonna just be getting more footage for the Maliss video. Some of the footage I get for this in this video will be in Master Rank post getting there, just because a lot of the footage I have gotten, the gameplay I have gotten for this, is kind of terrible. And then just a whole ton of exclusively Master Rank footage for Sky Striker Tenpai. Hold on, did you guys seen? Hold on, sneak peek. Sneak peek if you haven't seen. Yes. Yes. Yes, people. Royal Fadra. Royal Biden. These are coming soon, my friends, okay? Enjoy for the Maliss stuff for now, and I'm gonna catch you later.